And then as we walked around Wexford, everybody was so wonderfully welcoming and warm to all of us. And I was delighted to meet, I think Frank was his name, who came up and said, you may not remember me, but I used to write the kind of parochial notes from the country for gay community news in the old days. And he has given some of his material to the archive. Now, I was talking to the young woman reporter there about, she asked me about the stuff I gave to the library. I was delighted to give it, delighted to have it for nothing, get it out of the house. I now have a whole new room, which is clogged with all this old bilge. But it covered a whole series of things, including work I've done in the theatre. There are a couple of hundred posters from all over the world, shows I've done in South America, China, the Middle East, everywhere. The gay stuff, quite a lot of fairly interesting stuff that I'm a hoarder. But the most important thing I did was, I think when I was asked, I said, let me make some contacts with the gay movement of today and see if we can persuade them to hand over their archive. And they did, which was absolutely wonderful. So the National Library of Ireland now has this fantastic archive. Only thing I don't like about it is Tony bloody Walsh insists on calling it the National Queer Archive. And queer is a word I cannot bear. I fought against it for 40 years and I still don't like it. And I know what he's at. It's like the nigger thing in America. You know, people didn't like being called niggers, so they took it over and started calling themselves niggers. But you watch that. That fizzled out because people didn't like it. But I would say also keep an archive. I hope there is an archive, somebody who will hold on to the records, because this is so important. You know, in another 30 years, this will be so commonplace that people will yawn. But this is the historical origins of a new kind of group, and it's so important that it is being followed in other parts of the country. There is work to do, and I'd ask Lisa to talk to her, call in Mary Coughlin, and remind her that government, and I think it's a shame because Fianna Fáil actually produced in Morrigan Quinn a very courageous and visionary minister who gave us a real change. It wasn't minimalism, and that was in the heart of Conservative Fianna Fáil. But to me, it really went to my heart, Mary Coughlin, when a case of discrimination had been isolated and adjudged by the Equality Tribunal, when a gay couple were prevented access to the same travel opportunities that both unmarried and married heterosexual people got. Instead of addressing that, she redefined the word spouse to exclude gay people. That's the only example of discriminatory legislation introduced by a government in Europe in the last 15 years, and I'm rather ashamed that it happened in Ireland. And I never miss an opportunity. If I see her in a pink dress, I say to her, get that pink off, you missus. You're not entitled to wear it anymore until you change your mind and so on. And she said, oh, gay marriage, gay relation wouldn't run in Donegal. Like hell it wouldn't. Wake up, get onto the computer, read the Irish Times, sir. I think this is one of the most important things. I don't know why they didn't put it on the front page. It was on the computer. It was only thanks to my wonderful secretary, Miriam, I got it. Guess how many people in Ireland? And this is a very wide survey. This goes beyond the Chi factor, so you can extrapolate the entire population. 63% of Irish people believe there should be gay marriage. 37% no. And still we are, and I'm glad the baby is gone, because I use language, farting around. Let's stop farting, get off the pot, and do the business. So I am absolutely delighted. And after all, anyway, I won't go into any more about it, but it's wonderful to be down here in Wexford. Enjoyed the train journey down, enjoyed all the gossip, enjoyed meeting people, enjoyed the art gallery, and my goodness, I'm going to enjoy that book. And it's a pleasure to be with you all, and my heartiest congratulations to you. What you're doing is marvellous. You may never be in a position to measure the impact of what you're doing, but it will have an impact. And my final thing is to say, we've had a kind of a change of regime in this house. I had been negotiating with Brian Lennon, who's an old friend, about this legislation. And I objected to what I call the dog license aspects, which were to make this kind of registration or marriage, or whatever you like to call it, available. They were going to recognize relations between priests and their housekeepers, and two sisters. And for God's sake, and I'll tell you the intent, and I said it to Mansourage's face. The intention behind that is to drain away every drop of African affirmation, of celebration, and of joy. And I'm not taking that, because I took Bertie Ahern at his word when he said that this sexual orientation could not and must not be used to create second-class citizens. We are still second-class citizens. We haven't heard it go, but I believe that we will get over this hurdle. I suppose that's about it. You know, don't worry about the word marriage. It doesn't matter all that much, as far as I'm concerned. I kept it out of our legislation. I pulled the stuff I had off the order paper, wrote it with Ivana Barczyk, who's a marvelous colleague, and works on the Justice and Defence Committee with Lisa. But you can only take so much. I lived there for 4 years. I was fed up with the procrastination. I pulled it off, and I said to them, I'm now going for full civil marriage. That is the only equality. Not looking for the churches. The churches can do what they want. We cannot interfere with the churches if you believe in the separation of church and state, as I do. What's wrong with the word marriage, anyway? I mean, you talk about marriage in woodworking. You marry a joint. You marry ideas. You marry colours. What's so bloody sacred about that? Why should they have it? Why should it be restricted to the post-marital frolickings of heterosexuals? It should be for everybody. So I'm making a grab for the word marriage here today. And even as far as the church is concerned, and I've said it before, and I may even say it directly to the Senate, I have noticed over the last couple of years, priests, both Roman Catholic and Anglican, have been seen and photographed in the newspapers blessing tractors, nuclear submarines, and goldfish. And I don't think it would burst them to bless a few dykes while they were at it. Because anyway, how would they know that the goldfish weren't lesbians? I mean, I should think it's virtually impossible to tell. You know, with goldfish, they don't have any kind of things hanging out. And ending on that note, I'm very moved to see that in California, they have just permitted gay marriage. The Supreme Court has reversed the nasty, mean-minded Republican ruling, and the first people to be married were people I knew many, many years ago. I thought they were dead. Phyllis Lyon and Del Mar. They have been together for 55 years. And people say gay relationships are unstable. I'd like to see how many people, either gay or straight, would stick together in an atmosphere of hatred and hostility and still love and cherish each other after 55 years. So here's to Phyllis and Del, and may the Republican Party go down the drain forevermore, and may America redeem itself by not one single human being ever voting Republican again.